Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Android App Arena is provided by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This is Android App Arena, episode 67 for Wednesday, October 14th, 2015. Chromecast Party. This episode of Android App Arena is brought to you by Braintree. Even the best mobile app won't work without the right payments API. That's where the Braintree V.0 SDK comes in. One amazingly simple integration gives you every way to pay. Try out the sandbox and see for yourself at braintreepayments.com/arena. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Android App Arena. I'm your host, Jason Howell. Chromecast Party. Now, yes, I admit that kind of party might not be at the top of everyone's list of favorite party themes. You invite a bunch of people to your self-proclaimed Chromecast party, you're liable to get shunned or punched or both. But the Chromecast happens to be a popular little device running a mere $35 all in, so it's very likely that you or your friends have one already plugged in, and if that's the case, it can be used for more than just streaming YouTube or Netflix. Today, I'm showing off a few apps that are all about getting more than one person in the room in on the casting fun. It's this week's Roundup. So you've got a Chromecast device, a bunch of people, and you want to know what'll make everyone happy. How about turning your Chromecast into a community-driven jukebox? QCast allows you to do just that. From the main screen, I'll select to start a party, and I'll choose Google Play here, though Spotify users, you also have access as well. Now I'll enter in a fancy name for the music party. And this track location button is handy if you happen to be taking the party on the road, let's say. I'm not obviously doing that here. It'll track your location so that anyone around you while you're mobile can still connect to your party to add to the playlist. But here we go. I'll start the party and select my Chromecast here in the studio. My party is now created. Anyone in the general location of my cast party can open QCast on their device and find my party, given, of course, that they're close enough. They just find it in the list, tap to join, and start searching for music. The music is pulled from the party creator's music subscription. So in this case, my Google Play Music account. So only the person that creates the party needs to have a subscription. And from there, a playlist is built based on the requests of all partygoers. If people don't like a song that's playing, they can thumb it down, and critical mass will result in a skip track if a lot of people happen to thumb it down. Any guest is allowed to remove a track that they've added, and the party host has full control and can remove any track that they wish, as well as track selection and volume controls. The Chromecast interface is awesome, as you can see, especially for keeping on the screen in the main room so everyone can easily see what's playing now, as well as the upcoming songs in the playlist. And if you don't have a Chromecast to play it all on, the party host's device or even a Chrome browser can be used as endpoints as well. Find QCast in the Play Store right now for free. I'm a sucker for word games, and without a doubt, one of the most classic word games ever is Scrabble. Turns out Hasbro, the creator of Scrabble, has created a new take on Scrabble for the Chromecast, and I'd never heard of it before. Scrabble Blitz is a multiplayer game based around a time trial where each player is given the same set of jumbled letter tiles. With 3 rounds, each player must spell out as many words from those same identical set of 7 letters in 60 seconds. Like Scrabble, each letter has a particular point value, and throughout each round, a particular letter in the offering will be granted temporary double letter or triple letter status, meaning your score will increase that much more if that letter is played while the bonus is showing on screen. A warning will appear on the device that a double or triple letter score is possible, but the player must then look to the Chromecast screen to find out which letter actually gets the bonus applied. A little bit of extra difficulty there. But for the most part, players are locked into their own device's screen. Once a word is spelled out, the player simply swipes up to submit it, and it's included into their score, and they can try and spell out another word. If the player wants to shuffle up the tiles, you can just shake the device, and things will move around, giving a fresh take on the letters at hand. The Chromecast console is effective in showing what each player is working on, which is good for spectators at a party who are waiting their own turns, as well as cheering on the players that are playing. And you get a nice synopsis of the game at the end of 3 rounds, so everyone has some bragging rights to take with them. Hasbro actually has a sizable selection of Chromecast games for franchises you've heard of plenty of times before. Find Scrabble Blitz for free in the Play Store. Here's a game that's perfect for those looking to dominate and destroy their friends. It's called Tricky Titans. And once each player has installed the app on their device, everyone has access to a shared game on the Chromecast in the room. And it's not just Android. Those on iOS or even a Chrome browser can get in on the action as well. First things first, everyone needs to groom their own giant, which is actually pretty easy because it's all randomized. You just hit the random button, find a giant that you like, and then you can pick a name, and you're done. Now, one person of the group starts the game and selects how many humans and how many computer players are playing, up to 5 total players. Then you can select between 3 to 12 rounds and finally hit OK. Start the game, and on the Chromecast, all players now sit on top of their own villages. Those are perched atop each mountain, looking all menacing, of course. As Tricky Titans is a turn-based game, each player selects what their player chooses to do for that particular round by selecting from 3 options on their own device's screen. You can attack, of course, to directly attack one of your opponents, defend to shield yourself from an incoming attack, and power up, which basically means the player forfeits their turn this time around for an even better option next time. Things like healing yourself or applying double damage during your attack. Once everyone has registered a move, check out the Chromecast screen to see who feels the brunt of an attack and thus who is driven downward on the hill, and finally who reigns supreme in the end. Clean, rinse, repeat until all rounds are complete and a winner is announced. The art style is colorful and appealing. It's a nice cartoony style, and the game exerts a nice sense of humor to keep your real-life friends from punching you in the face when you win. It's a lot of fun. Check out Tricky Titans for free in the Play Store. So there you have it, a few ways to keep your friends occupied at your next party. Personally, I feel like as successful as Chromecast has become, there's still so much opportunity for really great kind of original apps and games for the platform. Some of the gaming experiences at the moment kind of seem a little basic, certainly too basic to consider the Chromecast to be a viable console-style platform. I'm not sure it'll ever be there, but there's room to grow for sure, and this is a great start. All right, before we move on, let's thank the sponsor of today's episode, and that's Braintree. Developers around the world have embraced the Braintree V.0 SDK as the easiest way to add secure mobile payments to their apps and their websites. No matter what payment type, Braintree accepts it. Apple Pay, Android Pay, PayPal, Venmo, credit cards, Bitcoin, and if something new pops up, Braintree will support that too. It's the same payment solution used by Uber, Airbnb, and GitHub, so you know it scales. It's simple, secure payments. It's code you can integrate in minutes, and developers, you're covered. You don't have to worry about taking days to integrate your payments with Braintree. It's done in minutes. And if you don't even have minutes, if you don't have that time, you can give them a call, and they'll handle the integration for you and walk you through it. The Braintree code supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients with SDKs in 7 languages: .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, Ruby, and it's elegant code, clearly documented. It's 10 lines of in-app code, so it's pretty straightforward stuff. Braintree gives you an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one simple integration. Integrating it into your app is as easy as inserting a few lines of code. You can check it out for yourself in the sandbox. Go to braintreepayments.com/arena and play around with the code and see how easy it is for you. That's braintreepayments.com/arena. And we thank Braintree for their continued support of Android App Arena. All right, up next, well, let's say that this app isn't new, but you've likely taken it for granted up until now. Let's take a look. This week's big app fits today's theme nicely, of course. And if you have a Chromecast, you already have it, probably. I'm showing it off today because it received its biggest update yet a few weeks back with some awesome new features that'll transform your Chromecast experience for the better. It's called, well, you know, Chromecast by Google. The old Chromecast app was, let's face it, ugly and hardly helpful, aside from initially allowing you to set up your Chromecast when you first install it. So an update was long overdue, and there's some really cool stuff here now. First, possibly the biggest update to the app is that it now knows what Chromecast-capable apps you already have installed on your device. This becomes incredibly helpful when movie night comes along. Instead of opening up Netflix to see if a movie you want to watch is there, only to find that it isn't, and then wondering where to turn next, I can go into the Chromecast app and search for what I want to watch there. Thanks to deep linking into these apps, searches now extend into the content of those services. And so I can see that Mad Men, for example, is for sale on Play Movies, but streamable if I have a Netflix account, which I do. No guesswork. The Devices tab has a lot of similar customization options from the old app and some new stuff in there too. Backdrop is the series of images shown while your Chromecast is idle and awaiting a cast, and you get some new image sources, as well as the ability to tweak the speed through which the images are cycled. I've been wanting that one for a while. And hey, if what you want is an easy way to find new Chromecast-capable apps, the Get Apps tab is actually a great starting point. It shows you all the categories that you may have missed and new inclusions to the categories with a link that takes you directly to the Play Store for everything under the sun, so you can install it right away. This is an app you likely already have, but if you haven't taken a look recently, it's worth checking out again. Find Chromecast in the Play Store right now. So the second generation Chromecast released, only a few weeks ago. As well, there was a dedicated Chromecast audio device that Google put out. I've installed both at home and have been playing around with them for the past couple of weeks. I use them almost daily. Chromecast is just one of my favorite devices at home. Chromecast at $35. Still totally a no-brainer piece of hardware, in my opinion. The small price that you pay brings so many cool features, you almost can't afford not to get one and put it into use somehow. And the new device actually boasts faster Wi-Fi speeds and quicker load times for content. I haven't seen a whole lot of that quicker load time quite yet. I'm wondering if that's one of those things that's going to kick in eventually, but I suppose your mileage may vary. And the Chromecast audio device is awesome. You plug it into any speaker you have in your house. It has an included mini port audio jack. And I don't know, it's kind of a breakthrough in my opinion. Instead of having to get a super expensive Sonos, it's $35. You have a super capable, cloud-controlled, and totally synchronized audio device. So you can have multiples throughout the house and have them all playing the same thing at the same time. So buy a bunch, hook them up to your speakers and stereos, and you're going to get your music channeled everywhere, kind of like a Sonos, but it costs so much less than a Sonos. It's perfect. Go to store.google.com to pick those up. I highly recommend it. Send me your favorite apps and your categories to arena@twit.tv. I read them all, or you can post those to the subreddit at androidapparena.reddit.com and share them with me and the rest of the world. A lot of people just going in there starting categories. I love it. I definitely pick through those regularly. The show records live every Wednesday around 4:30 p.m. Pacific following Tech News Tonight. That's at twit.tv/live. If you can't make the live taping, the show will always appear later in the evening in the feeds and on the show page at twit.tv/arena. All right, that's it, folks. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Jason Howell, and I'll see you next week in the arena.